All right, everybody. Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's been a little bit. Those of you that have been following me for a while know that I am kind of the biggest Cosworth Pi Toolbox fanboy out there, having really kind of cut my teeth learning to do data analysis and learning how to use this program back with the GM PDR starting in 2015. Really excited today to share with you a first look at the support that Cosworth has added to Pi Toolbox for iRacing's native telemetry. So this is super cool because you're able to now take telemetry straight out of iRacing, load up a Pi toolbox, and do analysis just like it was a real track outing. So if you're looking to learn how to do data analysis, this is a great way to learn the actual craft and be able to look at the tools look at the data using the same tools that pros use. For me, it's cool. You can even do things like compare real data to sim data, which is super neat. But this is just the first pass. You'll see this is really, it's a beta. I think they're going to have the final release out probably next week. And this is they provide a really nice workbook right out of the box. I was lucky enough to get a little bit of a sneak peek and have been playing with this for about a week. And you'll see there's a lot of great things they did in this workbook they give you. And then there's more workbooks coming that would come with some of their more advanced SKUs. But let's dig right into it. Take a look at the new Pi Toolbox version 14 and iRacing support. So I went ahead and installed it, literally just grabbed the latest one that they published a link to in the Cosworth support forum. And that doesn't work because that's the old one I was linked to. So, all right, let's open the right one. There we go. And loading up. And here we've got this. What you're normally going to see first is you're going to get prompted for a new worksheet. So I'm going to go ahead and just do what you would normally see at a first load. So we'll do File New, and you'll see Create New Workbook. If you just go over here to Sim, you'll see iRacing Lite Workbook, and this is the one that they provide kind of in the package that you install for free. So we're going to click OK. It's worth noting here, if you played with Pi Toolbox in the past, even the free Lite version, you had to go request a license and get a license key and install it. Starting with V14, you don't have to do that. You can literally just download the package, install it, and it just works. You don't have to add a license key for the free version. So as you can see, this is what you get out of the box. Over on the left here, you can see you've got a single task. So think of a task as, for those of you new to Pi Toolbox, well, let's start with an outing. An outing is literally a track session. So that could be a session in your sim, that could be a real session in your car, and then you can group these into tasks. So when we start looking at some other workbooks where you've got multiple tasks, I'll do things like have a task that's oriented at looking at an entire session. I'll have another task that's looking at comparing two different sessions or two different laps. But here we've just got a single one called iRacing, and we've got a single outing that they've loaded, but it doesn't actually exist. They don't provide the data. You need to do that yourself. Luckily, I happen to have some of my iRacing data here that we can use for analysis. So the very first thing you want to do is just right-click on this outing and do Replace Outing. And then what I do is I don't do analysis on my sim machine. I have a separate machine for that. So what I do is my iRacing machine is logged into Microsoft OneDrive. I have my sim machine logged into OneDrive. And I literally just drag the telemetry files into OneDrive and they sync up across machines. So that's why I've got a bunch of data files here. But let's go ahead and pick the last one, which was me playing around, just doing some testing with a Vantage GT4. And you could see you get a lot more info than I get with the PDR right out of the box. You get car name, driver name, track name, fast lap number, fast lap time, when you did it. You also get all your setup info. You'll see this as well in Pi Toolbox, but you can see all your settings that you put into the car. So you can go ahead and flip through that as you're looking at your outings before you've actually loaded one. We'll go ahead and just click that, click on OK. And now we have an outing loaded. So what you'll see here, let's go ahead and make this a little bit smaller. You'll see here is you have multiple worksheets. Think of it like Excel. If you've used Excel or Google Sheets, this whole thing is a workbook. You have different worksheets. You'll see within worksheets you have different displays. This first one just gives you a little helpful tip of how to get started. Honestly, I think once you're done with it, you just replace that with other displays. Let's just kind of do a walkthrough. So we'll start with driver. And here you see, um, some kind of key data for looking at your own driving. This is going to be a lot more useful when we start looking at comparing multiple laps. But let's go ahead and see a couple things. First, across the top, this is a really nice feature. This has been there in Pi Toolbox. I hadn't used it until I saw this workbook, and now I'm going to steal it for all of mine. But it's an easy way to basically click and change the displays to a given lap. So here, this was my best lap. It was what, a 56.6. Here was a 56.8. You see the display changing with the different laps, 57.2. So it's just an easy way to kind of look at different laps quickly without going through a bunch of clicks. This is the lap delta. We'll come back to that when we add another session. But again, this is how you can start looking to see, okay, where'd you gain time? Where'd you lose time? Down at the bottom here, they've got some iRacing specific data. So this actually comes out of the iRacing telemetry, your best lap, current lap, delta compare, these things. And then off to the right, you have the aerial map. So what's super cool is they actually have the GPS data to be able to plot the car on the map. So here we've got, this is VIR, one of my favorite tracks. And you'll see you can zoom in with the aerial map, literally see your line on the track and where you are at that particular moment in the data because it's all synced up. As you can see, as I click, it moves around. Okay. Next tab over, braking data. It was pretty humbling hopping into some of these cars on iRacing don't have ABS, and I am really poor at braking without ABS. This one actually does, so it's not as big a deal. But again, here you can see, speed, throttle trace, brake, whether ABS was active or not, as well as they have the ride height data. So you'll see the amount of telemetry you get is pretty astounding. You're getting individual wheel speeds, individual suspension, ride heights, all those things. So you can see, and you can drill into any of these. So let's take a look at, oh, I don't know. This is probably braking at the end of the back straight. So maybe let's click right about here. And if you hit the Z key, so there's a good shortcuts document that Cosworth links to, but Z drills in, backspace drills out, and you can see how under braking, the front end, dips not a lot. This is a GT4 car, but you can see the front end dip. So just backspace gets you back out. Look at the full lap again. Off to the right here, again, you can kind of see current lap time, air temp, steering angles. This is just a different way, a dial view of seeing your steering angle. So, for instance, here, I'm guessing this is probably oak tree. You can see kind of me, I'm cranking the wheel in, coming into oak tree. And then again, on the right, you see some of this very cool iRacing specific data like brake bias, wind direction, track temp, how wet the track is, uh, things you generally wouldn't get in real life, certainly not like track wetness anyways. Next tab, we have tire data. So here you'll see what we have is left-hand side, right-hand side, tire pressures and tire temps. What you actually will get with the iRacing data, we'll look at this in a bit more detail, is you actually get 3 tire temps per tire. So you get outer, middle, inner. This is actually an average across them. So you can see the kind of left-hand side and right-hand side tire temperatures change as you go through corners. And I'll show you, I'm working on my own workbook. I'm going to do some different things with this data and try and highlight things like, where's your peak grip? Like what are the good tire pressures, tire temps you need for peak grip? And on the right, again, you see kind of the classic driver inputs. So you can align them. So you could see things like, okay, here I am under heavy braking. Let me zoom in. What's happening to my tire temperatures and my tire pressures as I'm zooming in, right? So just a neat way to look at this data, the braking tire data specifically. And then the final chart on the right here, what they've done is they've taken advantage of their map display. So They've created a math channel for you. It's a really common one. Again, I think they did it actually a little better than the way I've traditionally done it. What you've got is effectively coasting is in black, some throttle is in yellow, full throttle is in green, some braking's in purple, heavy braking's in red. So a good way to see like, okay, where am I coasting? There's a little bit of coasting right here as I'm heading up to the top of the roller coaster. You can see light braking or later braking. You can see a little bit of throttle. So again, a good way to kind of look at the map or look at the track holistically and say, okay, you know, where am I coasting? Where do I have opportunities to perhaps get to full throttle sooner and compare that? And then over to the right here, again, you see a different representation of throttle and brake as a different way to represent that as you're going around the track. So, here we can see, by the way, I should point out the red and blue is the actual just track outline. So reds are corners, blues are straights. Um, you know what? I'm going to do something here on the fly. Uh, Toolbox will on its own create a map representation and try to auto create corners. Um, in this case, it's VIR. I run VIR a lot. I've actually gone ahead and created um, a map for VIR that has the correct corners. So we'll go ahead and go to, sorry, map, load, and most of this should be available on my website. If you go to hypodriver.com, these maps are out there. But now you've got VIR with the actual corner numbers and straight numbers in there correctly. So just something else to kind of help you look through it. And if you go look at, say, driver, um, if it helps you at looking at the data, you can overlay that on this chart. So for instance, if I right click and I do layout and I do show segments and splits, now I see, turn one, turn two, three, four, five, six. So again, now I can help orient myself to where I am on the track if I know the corner numbers. All right, let's add another session now and start looking at actually comparing data. So easiest thing to do is I did have multiple sessions with different cars, but one thing you can do that's you can either, well, let me show you real quick. You can right click, do add outing, pick a new one. In this case, I'm going to right click and just do copy, and then I'm going to right click and do paste. So I've just created another copy of the same outing so I can compare two of them. So the red is the one we're considering our reference lap, even though the outings are the same, the laps are the same. So let's change the green to, let's do the prior lap. It was, half a second slower, but now you can see on the screen, I've now got both laps with the traces overlaid, and then I also have the delta time. So, let's just pick a section, just going into one here and hit the Z key, and we're going to zoom in a little bit. So what do we see here, right? So this is just a kind of teaser. I'll do a deeper dive on this later, but it's a teaser about how you can look for ways to find lap time. If you look on the right to your lap time compare, you see this big dip. This means the green lap was gaining a lot of time from here to here. So as you can see, uh, they actually stayed in the gas a little longer, carried a little more speed through the braking zone, but kind of overslowed the car. So, what was I doing there? Maybe I should look at this some more. Well, how about we look at my line? I mean, we can see from the steering data as well that in my green lap, I was a little later turning in. I turned in more abruptly, but it might be easier just to look at that on the map. We'll just zoom in, and here you can see lines are very different. So while I was faster coming in on that green lap and I gained a bunch of time, I way missed my apex and I was way wide. And I'm pretty much fighting now to pull the car back over to the right-hand side of the track. So again, you can see that while I gained a little bit, I actually lost it in the long run, which we'll see just zooming back out a bit, see how it comes back up again and then over to the right. So for me, I tend to look at this either using the split reports, which we'll talk about in a separate video, or just looking for these big changes in delta time and say, okay, why did that happen, right? Here's another case where, again, the green lap was a lot faster, but then I made it right back up again. So this is going through lower S's it looks like. So just gives you an idea of how you can use this data. I focus primarily on three things: brake, accelerator, speed, and that's really what we do here. Again, Z key zooms in, kind of look and see, what was I doing here? Um, Zoom back out. Another thing that's worth pointing out, the Cosworth workbooks, they're all going to be in, international units. So, typically metric units. So, if you're like me and you're a product of the U.S. public education system, you might want to change that. So that's pretty easy to do. And I'll show you how to do that real quick. So uh, if you can cycle through the configuration of any channel. These are all channels: accelerator, brake, speed, using these arrows. So this is, we'll look at this again in a second. This is all the available channels. This is available events. This is the configuration of your channels. And then these are the ones that are in the particular display I'm looking at. You can also get through these, and these hotkeys come in real handy. Alt 1 shows you routings. Alt 2 shows you what you can add to a display. Alt 3 allows you to edit what a channel's properties. So in this case, let's take speed. We're just going to go down here. Let's type in here SP, make it easy to find. There's speed. And now you see you can set the color. You can determine whether you want it to auto scale. So that's really important if you're comparing multiple channels of, say, wheel speeds. You don't want to auto scale because then they won't line up properly because one may scale differently than the other. In this case, it is auto scaling. That's fine. And then let's go down to unit here. So here we've got units or kilometers per hour. I'm going to go ahead and change that to kind of my little display here is in the way. Change that to miles per hour. So now it's in miles per hour. Now my simple simple American brain can understand how fast that is. So there you go. So that's kind of a quick look at how you change the properties on a given channel. Let's go back and just kind of give you a sense of the kind of data we have in this platform. Well, we've got displays built in. There's lots more there that you can do. So I'm going to go to actually click in here and delete the SP. And now we're going to just take a quick roll through all these channels. So you're going to see things like, lateral longitudinal acceleration, vertical acceleration, air temp. Here you have things like average temp, average tire temp, average wheel speeds. Um, you've got that per wheel. You've got things like body roll. Um, again, how much percentage of braking on a lap. You have a lot of things that you're not going to see in typical car data, but it's here in iRacing, right? So you see information on the cameras. You see information on kind of the cars themselves and the drivers. You see information on whether there's a yellow flag, whether you're in the pits or not. You see all these channels, all these car setup channels are all the different setup parameters on the cars. You can actually see how you had the car set up. Did you make a roll bar change? Did you make a TC change or an ABS change in the session? And you can really see whether that changed and then how the car responded. So huge amount of data there. So many. So roll right through them. Okay. And what else? Again, a lot of these kind of toggles that you saw on, I believe it was actually this one, shows you a lot of the bit indicators. Show you things like whether water temp is high, again, whether the tires are kind of flagged to be changed at next pit stop. You see tire wear. Tire wear is something that's in there as well. But yeah, you've got more data than you frankly could possibly ever want. So if you're a data nerd, you want to learn how to do data analysis like on a pro car, it's all in there, built into the platform. And again, they've done some nice math channels for you. So they have math channels to basically highlight when you've got wheel lock, and that's how you've got that view under the braking data, right? So braking data, you see wheel lock, right? So where is the wheel starting to lock up? And in this case, this is a car I'm driving that has ABS, so it's not actually true wheel lock, it's just impending wheel lock is what you're seeing there. So that's a super quick run through of everything in the built-in workbook for iRacing in Pi Toolbox 14. I will be, like I said, posting another workbook that builds on this with some additional math channels that I've had in my previous workbooks, some additional displays. Actually, let me show you one more thing while we're in here. So if you want to see something that's not part of the default workbook, how do you do that? Well, this worksheet has got nothing more than just this image on it. You can add things to it. So I can click on the plus, click on display, and in this case, I'm licensed for more than light, so I have a bunch of additional displays you won't normally have. But the big one is, let's do a time distance chart. And I'm just going to blow that up. And now I can just pick channels. So, maybe I want to do lateral acceleration. Whoops, I need to Alt 2. Lateral acceleration and, oh, heck, I don't know, gear. I don't know why I would want to do those at the same time, but now I can see both of those. If I right click in this display, right now the axes are overlapped. I can change them to tiled. The other thing is by default, it's going based on time. So if you're comparing two laps and you're comparing on time, they're not going to line up because surely one of them is going to be faster. These are pretty close because the lap times are pretty close. But if you want to compare two lap times, you want to do it on distance. So right click again, axes, distance, and now you're lined up on distance. So that'll again get everything lined up to the same rough point on the track. And so that just is one way to, add things that you want to visualize into the workbook. Another good one I like to use is, is the XY chart. So you can take, two fields and compare them. So let's take lateral acceleration and where's one of my tire temp? Is always where I get flipped out. Here we go. Left front tire temp. So here you can see the relationship between left front tire temp and lateral G's in this case. This case is actually not lateral G's, it's lateral acceleration in meters per second squared. So uh, probably want to look at it in G's for me, it would be a little easier to interpret. But again, it's mapping them. In theory, what you're going to see if you look at this, and I'll show this in that new workbook, is you'll be able to find the ideal tire temperature for lateral acceleration. So here you can see, kind of my maximum lateral G's are over here in the range of around 80 degrees centigrade. So if you plot all four of them, you start looking to say, where's my maximum grip? You get an idea of where your tire temps need to be for maximum grip. So again, a little bit of a kind of a rabbit trail. I just started us down at the end there, but let me know if you have any questions. Like I said, I'll be doing a series of videos. The next one will really be doing more deep dive on analysis and in my own workbook. But I hope you enjoy it. I'm incredibly excited about the amount of capability this provides. Everybody have a great day.